The escapades, they continue. I also literally only just noticed that Ranced is just Strand with the first two letters at the end. Okay. Video game. In Mr. Natsume's room. In this escapade in Mr. Natsume's room, it is revealed that... Oh, it is in the wrong order. This one must take place after this one. Because in this one we're saying we're here to report on Mr. Natsume's case. And in this one, Mr. Natsume is still in the country. It is revealed that the Japanese scholar was once a teacher of English. He has much to say on the cultural differences between Japan and Britain, as well as on sentimentality, Shakespeare and cycling. So, Mr. Natsume, are you really returning home to Japan? Oh yes, indeed I am. Everything is arranged already. We'll be sad to say you go. And after Rono worked so hard to prove your innocence as well. What a shame. It feels like it was a wasted effort. Don't say that. I know what you're suggesting. Now calm down, Mr. Natsume. It's all fine, really. You are in good company here, sir. If you fear the Reaper, you needn't hide the fact. I'm a proud citizen of the Empire of Japan. I'm not a scaredy cat. Talking of cats, Mr. Sholmes just casually threw one among the pigeons there. I don't know this phrase. A man like me belongs in Japan, not here. That's what I've come to realise. I wonder. A moustache such as yours is eminently suited to London, I would say. There goes Mr. Sholmes throwing another cat in. The moment I arrived in this city, I noticed everyone in London laughs at me behind my back like hyenas. Hysterical hyenas ha-haing horribly. I'm sure that's not true, Mr. Natsume. Oh, but it is. Whenever I turn around and peer down the fog-filled streets, all I see is foreigners everywhere. Well, there's you, Rono and Susie in here. So there's 3 foreigners out of 5 people. I'll take your point. Only the other day, I was taking a stroll through the fog, as usual, when a young man approached me from ahead. He was pale and gaunt, his back arched like a cat. Observing his wretchedness moved me so deeply. I thought to myself, I'm not the only one suffering in this hell. But, do you know what? Can you imagine? I was just my own reflection in a shop window. A stunning, stinging, stupefying surprise. Don't forget slap in the face. Everyone started laughing at me. Gentlemen thereabouts, ladies passing by, even the man in the shop window. Ah, yes. And a certain great detective would like to be included among the mirthful. Oh! Mr. Sholmes is really going for Sosaki-san today. Well, I for one think you're a very handsome man, Mr. Natsume. There, did you hear that? This 10-year-old girl thinks you're handsome. Isn't that wonderful? That makes me feel suspiciously warm inside. He looks genuinely delighted. The point is, we Japanese are humble and modest. Studying on foreign soil, surrounded by foreign people, how could anyone possibly enjoy that? No one could. It's impossible. If you were genuine Japanese. If you say so. Actually, it would appear that there is someone. A Japanese man who studied in a foreign country and seems to have thrived on the experience. There is. Mr. Ogai Mori. I believe he studied in Germany.
Mr. Mori, pray, tell us more of the fellow.
Well, today, he's a very successful author in Japan.
Oh, I've heard of him. He's the professor who wrote My Hime, isn't he? My Hime, isn't he?
My Hime?
I suppose in English the title would be Dancing Queen, maybe?
Oh, I see. A tale of a woman who waltzed her way through the world, perhaps. You really needn't make up a silly translation, you know. It's already officially called The Dancing Girl in English. It seems Mr. Mori greatly enjoyed his time in Germany. He's become close with a local lady while he was there. Close, you say? With a local lady? A compatriot's criminally contradictory conduct.
Well, I suppose your experience of studying abroad depends to a large extent on your character.
Oh, as they say, many minds.
Mr. Mori has an open mind, Mr. Natsume a closed one.
Possibly a slightly black and white view, do you think, Mr. Sholmes? Well, anyway, if that's how you feel about being abroad, why did you choose to study here? Wasn't it to further our nation's understanding of the English language or something? Yes, that's right. So what were you doing in Japan before you came to Great Britain then? I was a school teacher, of English of course. A bit cursory perhaps, but I managed to discover some information about Mr. Natsume's teaching days.
That's just a little outside the field of law, isn't it, Miss Susato?
Well, let me pose you a question, Mr. Naruhodo. If you had to translate the English phrase, I love you, into Japanese, what would it become?
There's a few, isn't there? That's easy. Aishiteru or suki desu.
Wrong, according to Mr. Natsume's teachings at least.
What?
Would you like to explain, Mr. Natsume? Yes, of course. Your research was very thorough. I always used to tell my students that we Japanese don't express ourselves that way. Rather, we might say, Tsukigakure desu ne.
My dear Miss Natsume, I must interject. Tsukigakure desu ne will translate to as the Tsukigakure desu ne would translate as the moon is beautiful, isn't it?
I know that! The point is that we Japanese are reticent when it comes to expressing our emotions. We prefer to show our feelings of adoration, our suki, by appreciating the beauty of the moon, the suki.
Ah, using the suki to express suki. It's an amusing play on words, I see.
No, or in language you might understand better, bad Sholmes. It's not a play on words. It's subtle, it's humble, it's fleeting and beautiful. It's art. Isn't it just being shy? Ugh.
My dear fellow, the foreign dancing girl will forever be out of your reach with such an attitude.
Ugh.
Imagine how the great Mr. Mori would act. He would win the lady's heart in a flash with a well-placed and unrestrained "I love you."
Oh, that's smooth, Mr. Mori. Am I destined to live in his shadow forever? I'm gonna have to look up Mr. Mori now. Is he like... So I read that like Soseki's works are like the quintessential secondary school assignment, right? So I imagine this Mr. Mori is just like even more quintessential. Just what sort of man is he in that imagination of yours? The fact is, I can't settle in this foggy London town with all its foreign inhabitants. Oh, I've lost count of the number of different lodgings I tried before I found myself here. I looked this up as well. A few of the places he lived, the real man, like there's a sign there, like, this was once the lodgings of Mr. Soseki Natsume. But others are just like, whatever. As it happens, I even lived on Baker Street at one time. Isn't Baker Street not real? Well, I have to look this up now. Soseki Natsume. While I'm at it, I might as well Mori Japanese. Mori Ogai. Ah, my eyes. Why is Wikipedia like thing? Natsume Soseki was born as Natsume Kinosuke. Yeah, he couldn't afford Cambridge's tuition fees, and yeah. He lived in 4 different lodgings: 76 Gower Street near the British Museum, 85 Priory Road, West Hampstead, 6 Flodden Road, 85 Priory Road, West Hampstead, 6 Flodden Road, Camberwell, and 81 The Chase, Clapham. And a real quote from the real guy. The 2 years I spent in London were the most unpleasant years of my life. Among English gentlemen, I lived in misery, like a poor dog that has strayed among a pack of wolves. Baker Street isn't real, right? Well, I mean, like, okay, no, Baker Street is real because, like, there's like a legal dispute between the Conan Doyle estate and like some random ass place about which place is 221B. Mori Ogai. Ogai. Army Surgeon. The Wild Geese. The Dancing Girl, there it is. In 1980, yeah, and this game takes place in like 1900, exactly. Oh, the Sino-Japanese War was 19... So this game takes place after the Sino-Japanese War. The first Sino-Japanese War. I don't know anything about that sort of history, to be honest. Where's about his study in Germany? Murray was sent by the army to study in Germany. Leipzig, Dresden, Munich and Berlin. Let me go back to Natsume's page. Oh wait, so... Oh, Pogu. Oh wait, shit. Oh no. Reading Mr. Soseki Natsume, the real guy's Wikipedia page, I just spoiled a bit of Great Ace Attorney 2. God damn it. I knew already that he appeared in the second game. I'm going to cover that. So Seki appears as a character in Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where he is charged with stabbing a woman in the back during his stay in London, and is defended by the protagonist. In the game, he has a pet hat called Wagahai, a reference to I Am a Cat. He also appears in the second game, with something. Oh yeah, I haven't said this yet, but I did get a major plot point of the second game spoiled, which is a bit sad, but it's something that, if you were very clever, you probably could have worked out from, well, yeah. Okay, back to the game. No, really? A sour scholar lives near there. A man by the name of William James Craig. I've heard of him as well. What the hell? What? God damn it. Editor of Shakespeare's plays. Yeah. His knowledge of Sow is unsurpassed. He's been a great inspiration to me over the...
Forgive the interruption, but am I supposed to be familiar with this Sow of which you speak?
It's Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! But in Japanese, we write it as Sa and O. Sao. It's a phonetic representation using kanji characters. So, England is Igirisu, and America is, America. Come to think of it, we use the same character as V in the word, in one word, and Risu in another. Talk about confusing.
So Shakespeare is Sao in Japanese. Presumably the Sa is a brutal attempt at the first Sha. Or, you know, is a brutal attempt at the first Shay. In which case, where is the Kuspir?
I'd never thought of that. We only have the O left. Shakususpiro.
Which could, even in the most charitable interpretation, only be a brutal attempt at an old man.
It seems to me that whoever had the job of deciding on the characters for his name got bored very early on. Complete kanji character catastrophe.
So then, on to the burning question. What about me? How do you write my name?
Sorry?
Sherlock Sholmes, my dear fellow. There must be Japanese characters for my name.
Oh dear, I'm sorry, Mr. Sholmes, but none exist that I'm aware of.
What? Am I really? Oh. Let us engage. What? Am I really nothing to you Japanese? In that case, it's a matter of paramount importance. You must construct my name in kanji at once.
Oh, well, we could use a kanji that's pronounced as so to start with, and then use one more to give... So, perhaps? I think that would be about right, Mr. Sholmes. But that's almost the same as Sao, isn't it?
Yes, you employed the dreaded O. I don't want people to confuse me with an old man who died centuries ago.
I'm sure the world's greatest literary figure would rather not be confused with you either. Wait, is that actually legit? Shiaroku. Okay, I'm just gonna not.
Well, the world's greatest detective is still youthful and full of vigor. So, how about so handsome?
Oh yes, that sounds wonderful. I'm sure everyone will be calling you that 100 years from now. How can she say that with a straight face? What about me then? Iris? Perhaps? Oh, hey mate, since the second character doesn't seem to matter. Isn't Hime like princess or something? Aye, Hime? Oh yes, princess of love. Oh yeah, there's a love as well. Aishiteru, yeah. Princess of love, that's an adorable name for you, Iris. Stop, please, with a name like that, Mr. Mori is likely to turn up at any moment and rashly declare I love you. This Mori-san has become quite a character in Soseki-san's mind.
And you, Mr. Naruhodo, might I venture, Kurobozu, as a fitting name for you, as in Dark Monk.
Oh, that's very good. It describes you perfectly, Runo. So you think I'll be wearing this black varsity uniform for the rest of my days, do you? But Mr. Naruhodo already has a Japanese name. I don't believe he needs another. Well, anyways, we were talking about your life here in London, weren't we, Mr. Natsume? You should just get out and have fun. The landlady has said this as much to me too. Mrs. Garrideb? But it wasn't fun at all. It was frightful. Whatever do you mean? A cycle incident? An incident? On a bicycle? Oh, yes, come to think of it. His nose is clipping through his moustache. No! Oh yeah, we did see that, and that was never explained. There's an old bicycle parked just outside, isn't there? In a sorry state, though. Well, I tried to say no to her, but she insisted I took it for a ride. Perhaps my pronunciation is wrong. So I took my life in my hands and attempted to ride the steel spider-webbed stallion to a nearby park. I really don't think there's anything wrong with your pronunciation, Mr. Natsume. Jane Garrideb just isn't the kind of woman to take no for an answer. If you're gonna die, you might as well die in beautiful surroundings. So the park was my first thought. After a whole day of dicing with death, I emerged with only relatively minor bruises. So you got the knack of it? Don't be silly. Dying isn't something you can learn to do. You can figure out when this game takes place exactly from Mr. Natsume's age. I just realised this. I can't check though. I can't be asked to piss about and check. Mr. Natsume, you keep talking about dice and death and dying and so forth, but riding a bicycle is supposed to be fun. Oh no, that's just what people tell you. But it's an old wives' tale. Is it? I mean, just consider the real name of the vehicle. It's not called a bicycle for nothing. How does anyone expect to see use such an aptly named vehicle to move forwards? It's beyond me. Pedal power, promises pain. I didn't think it was possible to get worse with practice. It's I'm looking to be alive. Although, I must say, after looking at death in the eye for a whole week, I did at least manage to mount the steed reliably. And notwithstanding a few wobbles, I think I found I could make progress in the forward direction. What a triumph.
Deduction is much the same. When first presented with a problem, the mental exertion of trying to solve it only leads to bitter disappointment. But after a week of picking one's way carefully along the path of reasoning and thought, one begins to see results.
So, is that why all of your off-the-cuff deductions always seem half-baked? What a wonderful insight into your extraordinary mind, Mr. Sholmes. Unfortunately, after wobbling down the street, I noticed there were some little stones everywhere. Death traps. Not that way, I said to myself. But the wind vehicle wouldn't listen. It wobbled on me on and on down the street. So of course, I hit one of those deadly stones, and a crazy colt threw me. And the crazy colt threw me. It's just my luck. Bicycles are the epitome of my pitiful life. I wish I could disagree. On the same subject, I'm sure there's a famous American author who's written about having a similar experience. Oh yes, I've read that essay too, Iris. Some of us are better read than others. Well, no more bicycles for me. Well, Mr. Natsume, at least you have an interesting anecdote to take back with you to Japan, if nothing else. You always manage to put a positive spin on things, don't you, Miss Susato?
Personally, I haven't mounted a bicycle for some time. I prefer the penny farthing.
No, me neither. That's good.
So, how about a jaunt? We shall all ride out together.
That sounds great. I'll perch behind Miss Usato. But the sun is going down. It will be pitch black before long. London's straight line is very bright, you know, and the fog isn't too thick today. And my beloved ride is all but bent out of shape.
My dear fellow, if you are bound to topple the vehicle anyway, it's fitting that it's already bent out of shape.
I hope this theme is in the second game. I just really hope it is. I know that there's a bunch of like the partners themes and all that, but it's settled then. Come along, Mr. Natsume. Shall we go? Suki ga kirei desu ne. Don't tell me that's his translation of no thank you as well.
Indeed, Mr. Natsume, the moon is at its most beautiful at precisely this time in the evening.
Oh. We're not Japanese. You can't beat round the bush with us. What a weird and wonderful world! What's the end? Can't beat round the bush with us. th April, 12:20 PM, Dwyer Road. Oh, bum 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 bum. Are their scarves really connected together? I read in the art thingy that they are, but... So... Oh, what the hell was this guy's voice? Sir, Constable Rolly Beat, reporting for duty. Thanks to the good offices of Lord Van Zykes, I'm back on my beat here in the capital, doing my best with good citizens of London. Sir! Sir! Sir!
Oh, my Rolly, back in his Bobby's uniform. You can look.
Oh, I gave her a nasally voice.
Oh, my Rolly, back in his Bobby's uniform. You can look any more handsome if you tried.
Oh, my love, you say the sweetest things. Oh, Pat,
Oh, Rolly.
to us, Lord Van Zykes isn't the Reaper of the Bailey at all.
Oh no, of course not. He's the patron saint of Bobby's.
The patron saint? Oh yes, Pat. You're so right, my darling. Papers in the pocket he is. On my first day back on the job, what did I find in the gutter? A shilling, my love. A whole shilling. Wait a minute.
Oh, Rolly, I always believed in you. Oh, Rolly, I always believed in you. I always knew one day you'd find big small change.
With just that shilling, I could buy you a cheap bunch containing a single flower, me sugar.
A single flower? Oh, how romantic.
But I'm so sorry, Pat. Only moments ago, that shilling disappeared.
It disappeared. But how, my love? How?
I think maybe. No, I'm sure. It was this girl here, sir. You swiped my precious shilling, didn't you? You cheeky little diver.
Blimey. Blimey. You took your time getting round to me, didn't you? I thought that lovey-dovey stuff weren't ever going to end. So, a shilling, you say? Lifted from her? From you, were it? Don't know nothing about that. Where's the evidence, eh?
Right there. The evidence is dancing around the back of your hand, young Clyden. You stole it from me. You lifted it from my pocket just now. You've got nerve stealing from a bobby.
Cobblers, that coin's mine. How could you know anyway? How could you know if it was taken just now or not?
Mate, you just don't get it, do you? We've hardly got a penny to our name. That coin felt as heavy to me as a bar of gold.
Aye?
I'm telling you, the moment it left my pocket, I knew. I felt myself again a good few pounds lighter.
Oh,
Yep, that coin has got my blood, sweat and tears all over it. Isn't that phrase blood, sweat and tears from Churchill? I don't know.
what's the matter with you, eh, Mr. Narrow-Oddo?
Huh? Me? Sorry?
When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help, straight away, not an hour later.
This isn't my fault. I haven't stolen anything.
And what about you, eh, Sholmes? I thought you were supposed to be a great detective.
Dear me, Miss Lestrade. You took your time getting around to me, didn't you? I thought that long dispute was never going to end. Ah, ha, 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 ha. I copied your own phrase.
You only said give us a minute when we spotted you over the road and said hello. And that was 10 minutes ago, Ginny. We've just been standing here listening to you quarrel with this Bobby.
Oh, I beg your pardon, madam. I shouldn't be troubling the public with the police business.
But that shilling belongs to us, doesn't it, Rowley?
Of course it does, my love. It's just for you and me, my darling. Ah. This was just supposed to be a nice stroll with Iris and Mr. Sholmes before afternoon tea. Why did we have to run into another fiasco on Briar Road? I don't really see how we could be of any help, Gina. There's no way of knowing who the coin really belongs to if it's just dropped in the gutter.
I wouldn't be so sure of that, Rono.
What?
I have a feeling I might know the answer to the question of whose coin it is.
Ah, my bright young fellow lodger. Let us hear your deduction.
Well, there's actually a reason why I suggested a stroll down Briar Road. Down Briar Road? Oh, there's actually a reason I suggested a stroll down Briar Road.
Oh, what reason?
You see, I was here yesterday and, well, I dropped a little something. So I wanted to come and look for it while enjoying an afternoon stroll.
Wait, you dropped something? You don't mean?
It was the pocket money that Hurley gave me.
What's this, Iris? You dropped that, did you?
I'm sorry. I went to market Long Lime Street yesterday to pick up some herb, you see. On the way, I must have dropped it. That 1 shilling coin you gave me.
Oh!
A 1 shilling... a 1 bob bit? Yes, and when I thought back over the route I took, I realised I must have dropped it here. Constable, you haven't seen it, have you? It's all my pocket money. And it's gone. Oh. Well, I'm afraid I don't know anything about that young lady. What rotten luck dropping your money like that. Sorry.
I dare say that the constable and his companion could give you a run for your money with their wide eyes.
If it's all the same to you, Mr. Sholmes, I think I'd prefer not to be used as the yardstick for looking guilty.
Well, it's tough really, isn't it, Iris? You dropped it, so it ain't yours no more. Minus keepers. Anyway, you know what they say. What goes around comes around, so don't feel bad.
Bad luck, Iris. It doesn't look like you're going to be getting your coin back.
Oh, I can't believe I lost it. And straight after Hurley gave it to me as well.
Yes, regrettable indeed. I seem to recall that particular coin was rather significant.
What do you mean, significant?
To be specific, it was an especially significant to you, Rono.
Significant to me? Ah, you don't mean... It was the coin from last night's wager. What wager?
The very same, my dear fellow.
What's this then? What wager? It was a game of poker. A duel between Hurley and Rono. Poker? What, that tricky card game, you mean?
As a lawyer, I have the perfect poker face. You'll never be able to tell what I'm thinking, said he. Little did he know I could just look through his cards with my magical goggles. And also it was a rigged deck of cards, where the back shows a sign of what's on the front. But depriving Mr. Naruhodo of his entire fortune was even easier than finding that missing thoroughbred.
Urgh, it was so infuriating. Reliving it now makes me grit my teeth. Sorry, Iris. I had every intention of paying you back the money I owe you. But you'll have to wait, I'm afraid.
Yes, I know. Don't worry. Next month is fine. Let me guess, Otto. Your whole fortune.
It was 1 whole shilling, my entire monthly stipend, and I lost all of it. I thought a shilling is 12 pence. 12 pence. Right? And a penny that... Is that not like a tenner? $1900. 1 shilling. It's £3.91. As I handed it over to Mr. Sholmes, I gritted my teeth so hard that my gums started to bleed.
Please, Bruno, don't exaggerate. That's a horrible image. What about a lawyer who borrows money from a 10-year-old girl? Now that's a horrible image.
Why do I feel like my reputation with this couple has just fallen through the floor?
Ah, ha 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 ha. There are few things more invigorating than taking a man for all he's worth.
Don't be so pleased with yourself, Hurley. It's not as if Bruno ever had a chance of winning.
Wait, what? What do you mean by that?
Well, using that special ink I developed, anyone could...
Thank you, Iris. That will do. I'm sure this conversation is proving very dull for everyone. What's done is done. The game is over now. There's no point crying over spilt milk.
Special ink, you say? Well, sir, that sounds like the sort of risky business that's right up my alley.
Oh, Rolly, I love your dauntless spirit. You laugh in the face of danger. Come on then, Iris, spill it. What's this special ink about, eh? Ah, well, what's sometimes called invisible ink. All you have to do is write the suit and the number on the reverse side of every card. And with all the aid of some special glasses, the whole game is laid bare to you.
Yep, I guessed it. Wait, you were wearing glasses last night, weren't you, Mr. Sholmes? You said something along the lines of, my eyesight appears to have suddenly worsened.
And the moment you failed to question that is odd was the moment I knew I had won the game.
Mind games, was it? Trying to throw me off your eccentric ways?
So you're telling me Sholmes could see every card what Otto had?
What? But that's not mind games, that's blatant cheating.
My dear fellow, what an accusation! Would you honestly consider me a cheat? Please, I prefer trickster.
Whatever you call it, the game doesn't count now. Understand, Mr. Sholmes?
Dear me. Well, out of respect for the bad grace with which you take defeat, allow me to return your shilling.
Did you hear that, Gina? So give it here.
Aye? Leave me out of this. This here one bob bit was mine from the start. No question.
No, sir. That there one bob bit was lifted from this here Bobby's pocket only a few minutes ago.
So you keep saying, come on then, where's the evidence?
Hey? So, okay. This line is great too. One sec, I want to take a screenshot of this one. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the coin, first it was in the hands of Her Majesty's government, then Her Majesty's government gave it to Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo as a stipend. Then he lost his stipend in a poker match with Mr. Sholmes, so then the coin was Mr. Sholmes. And then he gave the coin to Iris as pocket money, and then Iris dropped the coin, and then the policeman picked up the coin, and then Gina stole the coin. That seems like it's in character for everyone, right? He gets his stipend, he loses it in a poker game. Sholmes wins it in his poker game and gives it to Iris as pocket money. Iris gets it as pocket money and drops it. And the policeman picks it up and gets it stolen from it. Yeah, it's perfect. Oh. Also this line.
Gina Lestrade, the law, right, is all about evidence. I know my stuff. The law, right? It's all about evidence. I know my stuff.
You see, Mr. Naruhodo, use a trite excuse in court, and others will parrot it. Only whenever I do say that in court, it isn't as a trite excuse, you know.
As I said, sir, that coin has got my blood, sweat and tears all over it. That's right, it has. Rowley's blood, sweat and tears are all the evidence. Blood, you say? In that case, it's time for this.
Ah, do you think?
Well, if there's any traces of blood on that coin, we'll soon know about it. All right, Ginny. Hold very still. Hey, what?
No way did they... no, okay, the black screen.
Look at that. See there on the coin? It's clearly changed colour. In other words, there is blood on this coin.
Once again, as I said, sir, that would be my blood, sweat and tears. Oh, wait. I've seen blood turn that colour before. Yes, I know whose blood it is. I know whose coin it is. What? The rightful owner of this bloodstained shilling is me. Bruno.
Wait, how does she know my blood? What music is this again? Oh, is it the core? It's the core theme. Thank theme. Also, I learned some things about Iris's character design. This here is a logarithmic spiral with constant, or with the parameter of the golden ratio, the so-called golden spiral. The thing with the golden spiral, right? If you it's like if you draw the Fibonacci sequence with blocks and you draw through it, it does the thing. I can't remember how. Something like that. Oh no, you have one block, then you put two blocks next to it, which makes three, and then you... I've already forgot how it works, to be honest. Oh yeah, you have a big block, then you put one half the sides. I have no idea. It's something though, and it just I've seen I had not a lecture, but like in year 11 I had a thing when I was at summer school, and then this here is a Mobius strip. Not a Mobius strip, sorry, a Mobius strip.
Bruno.
And I think this is probably supposed to be like a helixy sort of pattern.
Huh? Me? And from the appearance of the blood, I would say that it is quite fresh. Left within the last 24 hours.
Within the last... then in that case...
So, this is the coin what Sholmes had off Otto last night in the poker game? Oh, Bruno, do you mean you really did make your gums bleed?
Oh.
I told you I was so infuriated to lose, I had to grit my teeth as I handed over the money.
Dun, 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 dun.
Blimey, you're as hard up as me by the sound of it, but I thought you had a proper job.
Come on, Gina, just hand it over, would you? The shilling.
That's rightfully mine. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, fine. All right then. Just stop your blading staring.
That was a cute one.
Ah, I finally have it back. It's like a dream come true. Tch, I nearly had that one in the bag and all. That's wonderful, Nose Bruno. I'm so happy for you. Now then, as you promised, I'd like my money back, please. The shilling I lent you before.
Ah!
You did say that you'd pay it back out of this month's pocket money, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Well then, I suppose.
My dear fellow, do be so kind to your gums. Do be kind to your gums.
Looks like that shilling's always destined to be taken from you, sir.
For some reason, the phrase serves you right is floating around in my head.
So, Iris, as promised, here is the shilling I owe you.
Oh, you really repay me already? Well, thank you. Next month's would have been fine, though. What's it all about, anyway? What are you lending Otto money for? Oh, yes. Well, actually, it's because I went to the Lime Street Market yesterday to buy herbs. For Reno. Herbs? For Otto?
Yes, the tea Miss Susato left behind is top quality. Oh, Susato isn't here, yeah, this is after the game. It's top quality Gyokuro tea, but it's just so bitter. So when Iris suggested mixing it with some herbs to make it more palatable, I asked her to buy me some.
That's right. We've made a special Japanese herbal tea with the leftover Gyokuro. I'm going to call it Susie's Special Blend. Gyokuro Blend number 700. I do hope you'll all try it.
The excruciating bitterness clings to the throat if you can persuade the bright green gloop to leave the club.
Why, it sounds delicious.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Well, it would appear this shilling's brief adventures are now at an end.
Adventures?
You must agree, my dear fellow, that the coin has made a considerable journey since last night.
Let's see. Originally, it was the coin I was supposed to give to Iris to pay her for the herbs. But then, in our poker duel last night, it passed to you, Mr. Shones.
Who gave it to Iris as spending money? And then I dropped it here sometime yesterday. Then my beloved Rolly found it a little while ago and picked it up. Before it was lifted from my pocket by this here diver. I then used my favourite gun to show the blood that was on it. And let slip about Sholmes' little scam in his card game last night.
The annulment of which resulted in the coin returning to the ownership of Mr. Naruhodo,
allowing me to pay Iris the money I owed her after all. For the herbs she brought in order to make Susie's special blend tea.
And now, after all that, the coin is resting safely in my pocket.
Are you sure that I didn't just steal it from you?
Yeah, you're right. That was an adventure. But what are we supposed to take away from it, eh?
That this 1 shilling coin belongs to Iris and Iris alone, I think.
I cannot fault your observation, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, you know what they say. What goes around comes around.
Why do I get the feeling that Iris knew it was coming around to her from the very beginning?
Ah, ha, 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 ha. Priceless, as they say. Well then, my dear fellow, how about this evening we indulge in some bitter tea and a bitter rematch? I'll even allow you to stake the coming month's spending money in advance.
I fold. I fold. Yay, I get to do Van Zyke's voice for the last one. Let's check that the stream is alright though. Yeah, it's all good. Unknown. The old baby courtroom. I didn't read the little thingy.
This court is now...
Oh, no, that's not his voice.
Santa voice. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, dear, oh, dear. This court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Hairlock Soap. This is a most extraordinary case of murder. Counsels, I assume I may proceed.
Yes, my lord. The defence is ready. At your discretion, my lord.
Very well, I hereby call on the prosecution to introduce the case.
The incident in question took place 2 days ago, late at night when the ground was blanketed with snow. The location of the incident was the residence of the accused, Mr. Hairlock Sholmes.
Indeed. The now famous address of number 221B Baker Street, was it?
The address may have enjoyed fame once, my lord, but will henceforth endure infamy for this grim crime.
Yes, sir. Well put. The victim, a certain Madame Rosie, was found asphyxiated on the accused's sofa. My word. Oh, dear. My word.
Objection! Objection! It's unclear as to whether the victim was actually killed in the defendant's suite or not. After all, when Mr. Sholmes left the room only for a brief moment, Madame Rosie somehow vanished herself out of his room completely.
Vanished herself, counsel? The victim? Quite true, my lord. There is but one adjoining door between my drawing room and the kitchen. Yet having brewed some tea in the kitchen, I returned to find the room completely empty. There was nobody else present. Ordinarily, my fellow lodger Iris would have been at home. However, on the day in question, she had been invited to a meeting of a scientific society in the city. I'm afraid you have a propensity for exaggeration, sir. You claim the victim vanished herself, but really, it seems to me entirely plausible that she chose to leave via the main entrance of your suite. As it happens, my lord, the door to the accused's room was locked at the time from the inside. Very true, Inspector. As such, I can say with considerable surety that the victim did not leave via my front door. The cat flap, of course.
But what about, aha, yes, she could have snuck out through a window.
Objection!
Objection! The windows in the room were not locked, it's true, and the victim had the opportunity. However,
there was snow all around the building outside, and not a patch of it had been disturbed.
would my learned friend care to explain how the victim could have left without leaving a trail?
So the victim, Madame Rosie, somehow vanished from the scene before she was killed.
Ugh!
Naturally, I was alarmed by the sudden disappearance of my guest. So I summoned this gentleman, who resides in the attic room above my own. We took a cab to Scotland Yard.
I can confirm that the defendant called for me, and I saw his suite on my way downstairs. And yes, I'm quite sure it was empty, just as Mr. Sholmes said.
When we had reached the yard, this very detective happened to be there. Oh, well, yes, you say. Oh, I was just in the office for a while, having got back from some, important business.
Gregorson. And then, having explained the situation to the inspector, we travelled back to Baker Street together. At that time, there were no footprints in the snow around the building other than the ones we'd made.
Oh, I take it then, Counsel, that you personally witnessed the scene where the incident took place.
No, my lord. I went straight up to bed in my own room in the attic. Inspector Gregson, however, was met with a most blood-curdling sight. On Mr. Sholmes' sofa, the vanished Madame Rosie, motionless.
So the victim was already dead when you discovered her, Inspector? No, me lord, not dead, but not far off it. She mustered all of her remaining strength to say these dying words. That writer, Sholmes, will be the death of me. Ah, yes, I overheard that remark at the time too, delivered in a rasping voice, full of malice.
No. Those words indeed proved her to be her last. The victim expired no moments later, there on the sofa. The cause of death was identified as damage to the respiratory tract as a result of strangulation. Pray, does the accused dare to contest the inspector's account?
Certainly not. In fact, the inspector has done an unusually fine job of summarizing the salient points. Sholmes will be the death of me. Damning departing words indeed.
Dun, dun, dun. In her final moments, the victim named her killer. You, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Objection!
Objection! But the defendant had no reason to take the victim's life. Perhaps you could tell the court, Mr. Sholmes, who exactly this Madame Rosie was.
Ah, yes, of course. Did I ever mention her to you? I'd extended an invitation to her that evening, though she is loquacious in the extreme. The most trivial of matters quickly becomes a quarrel. I was only too pleased to leave her present to make tea.
Great. Wait, is that the right way to point in the camera? Yes, it is. You go like this. It would appear, then, that the accused did in fact have a motive to commit the crime. It would appear, then, that the accused did in fact have a motive for silencing his heuristic guest permanently. Objection! Putting that tenuous motive aside, what about the other mysteries surrounding the case?
I'm inclined to agree with the defense. There remain a number of inscrutable details. The victim's alleged disappearance and subsequent reappearance, leaving no trail of footprints, for example.
That's right. The crime described by the prosecution could never have happened. Yet the victim named the accused in her dying breath. It seems to me that my learned friend has overlooked a significant detail here. Nonsense! What have I overlooked? The man in the dock, the so-called great detective, all too frequently makes the following bold claim. There is no crime beyond the realms of possibility, no mystery beyond my powers of reasoning. So, Mr. Sholmes, you will have no difficulty in explaining how the crime thus described could have taken place. Therefore, I propose a toast to the great detective upholding his name. But of course, were I to put my mind to the matter, the crime would immediately appear to all present. Were I to put my mind to the matter, the crime. Were I to put my mind to the matter, the crime would immediately appear to all present to be entirely feasible. Please, Mr. Sholmes, whose side are you on? All you need to say is no. Even I can't think of a way that a crime like that could have been committed. Let the accused's admission be noted by the court. Though the crime may appear impossible to us mortals of inferior mental capacity, this man alone claims to know exactly how it was done.
Hold it!
Hold it! Now hold on, that's a very fragile argument.
Thank you, counsel. I believe I've heard more than enough to proceed to my adjudication. The accused's great detective did in some inscrutable manner willfully murder the victim, Madame Rosie. I therefore find the defendant guilty. Let the man be taken from this courtroom and in some equally inscrutable manner be sanctioned for his crimes. Court is adjourned.
Hold it! Hold it! The classic, hold it after the verdict. My lord, please. The truth about the mystery surrounding this case, unknown to another besides the great detective. What's this?
Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you are coming along wonderfully. You've deduced a fundamental truth about this case, I believe.
Which would be, detective,
that the truth of this case is known only to the true culprit, obviously. Is that not so, Gregson? Hey, what? Well, I suppose, yes.
you don't mean? Are you suggesting, Mr. Sholmes, that you have an idea as to what actually happened that night?
An idea, my dear fellow. I could explain the entire incident from start to finish, with not a single detail omitted.
Objection!
Objection. It seems that the detective has failed to grasp the situation.
Pray, Mr. Reaper, of which of us has truly failed to grasp the situation, I wonder?
Then answer me this. You claim that prior to the incident that the victim suddenly vanished without a trace from your room. If so, how exactly did Madame Rosie disappear?
Why, naturally, by the window. It was ajar, after all.
It can't be. I mean, there's a whole story above street level. And anyway, no prints were found in the snow.
There are any number of ways one could avoid leaving tracks in the snow, surely.
Such as?
Such as flying, for instance.
A fatuous notion. And to where do you propose the victim flew, Mr. Sholmes?
Is it not entirely plain? To the culprit's abode, of course. For, having left my suite, that is clearly where Madame Rosie was murdered. Take a moment to consider the cruel irony, if you will. By her own volition, she flew directly to her death.
Objection!
Objection! Do you forget, detective, the victim's corpse was discovered on your own sofa?
No doubt because her killer carried her back there.
But what about the lack of footprints in the snow again, then? There just weren't any. other than our own, from when we returned home ourselves. If by our footprints you refer to your own and mine, you are quite right, but they were those of another. On the night in question was one other person who could have conveyed the victim to my sofa. What? Good gracious, to whom do you refer, sir? A man whose somewhat unavailing presence at the scene of the crime would be questioned by no one. Me? Gregson? Unavailing? Ah! You don't mean... Indeed I do. A man who has hastened to the scene directly upon learning of the incident at Scotland Yard. Namely... you, Inspector Gregson. Aye! When you arrived at my address at Baker Street, you were carrying the half-dead Madame Rosie with you. You waited for a suitable opportunity, and then laid the victim on my sofa. He did. What? Objection! Objection! We were with the inspector when we arrived. How could he possibly have been carrying the victim? We would have noticed. My dear fellow, the most obvious answer presents itself, does it not? The inspector is rarely, if ever, without his overcoat. The victim was simply conveyed in one of its many pockets. Oh, Madame Rosie is a doll or something. I fail to see what makes this detective great, but I can say one thing with great certainty. A human body cannot fit into the pocket of an overcoat. It wasn't a human. I believe you may have all fallen foul of a rather significant misapprehension. What? Madame Rosie was not a human. I beg your pardon. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Narrow. Something troubles you, perhaps? Whatever gives you that idea? Exactly what sort of creature was Madame Rosie? Is it not apparent already? A parakeet, of course. Oh! Gregson said that Sholmes will be the end of me. And then Gregson got annoyed at the parrot repeating him. A most self-conceited specimen, in fact. A parakeet? She was an incessant talker, I must say. Her manner was quite intolerable at times. Wont to turn every conversation to a quarrel. I thought to strangle the creature on more than one occasion. You had a quarrel with a parakeet? But of course! Why else would she have chosen to fly from my window so uncordially that evening? Oh. To the abode of the inspector here, beside me no less. To Inspector Gregson's abode? But why? Because that was the parakeet's home, naturally. What are you? The inspector was called away from town for some days, so it was arranged that I would look after the bird. But it would appear that she was overcome with a sudden yearning for her keeper, thus prompting her flight from my room. Thus prompting her flight from my comfortable suite to the inspector's office at Scotland Yard. Well, Gregson, I believe it's high time you explain. Give us your account of what happened that night. Sparing no details, of course. Inspector Gregson? That bloody parakeet. It was an accident.
Oh, I got back from being away that evening, you see. I just walked through my door, the door from my office. I never imagined Madame Rosie would be on her way back to the yard as well. I slammed the door shut behind me, just as she was trying to fly through it.
So, Madame Rosie.
She got sandwiched between the door and the frame and fell to the floor. Never to move again, because of me. Well, I never. I had to do something, and just when I was trying to think of a plan, you fellas arrived to talking about some incident at Baker Street.
Ah!
I had to hide Madame Rosie in a hurry, so I stuffed her in my coat pocket and got in the cab with the pair of you.
Carried the victim in his pocket. What could possibly have motivated you to behave in such a manner, Inspector?
Lord Strongheart, sir.
What? Lord Strongheart? Please tell me I didn't hear that right.
It was the Lord Chief Justice who asked me to look after the bird in the first place. They'd been living with the pigeons at the Supreme Court until then.
Oh yeah. That fly up every time you walk in.
But apparently the other birds had started to pick on her. So for the past 6 months or so, I've been caring for her in my office at the yard. I see. If anything happened to that bird, just imagine. No pay and no time off for the rest of my career. You mark my words, that's what's going to happen. That's why well... The victim's dying words, Inspector. Court heard earlier that Madame Rosie spoke the name of her assailant on her deathbed.
That rotter, Sholmes, will be the death of me.
Indeed she did. Quite uncalled for, wouldn't you agree? But those words are your true feelings, are they not, Inspector? Ugh. Clearly you speak of me often, at your office at the yard, in this disparaging manner, and a manner that the merry parakeet took much delight in mimicking. Well, come on. I mean, have you read this month's edition of Rants magazine, eh? Sorry.
This is all absolutely true. Oh my god, what? They pulled out a front-facing Van Dyke sprite just for this. Wow. We didn't get to see this in the whole game.
Something wrong, Lord Van Dykes?
No, nothing. I almost... Oh wait, we're Van Dykes, dude, we're Van Dykes.
Something wrong, Lord Van Dykes?
No, nothing. I almost drifted off for a moment there. I need to start putting that bit of inflection in his voice when he's... Because there's that one voice clip of him like... Aleks Sholmes, you say? I need to like work it in somehow. I almost drifted off for a moment there.
It's hard not to drift off when you've been kept waiting 3 hours already.
I wonder if we'll manage to meet with Lord Strongheart at all today. We may have to deliver the report on the Windybank case that he asked for on another day.
tell me, Inspector, what became of that bird? Oh, Madame Rosie, you mean? She had a narrow escape, but she's still alive. I delivered her back here not long ago, actually, on Lord Strongart's orders. He's hoping the pigeons will accept her now. It was something of a shock to hear that she'd been crushed in the doorway of your office. Especially as we were all under the misapprehension that Madame Rosie was a person. Sorry about that. It was Lord Strongart's demand that... Ah, good, you're here. The Minister of the Crown has arrived. Where's my principal private secretary? I apologise for my tardiness. I'm exactly 3 hours, 24 minutes and 57 seconds late. Oh no, my lord. No, please don't trouble yourself. Nothing gives us greater pleasure than standing here doing nothing for hours on end.
Everybody says that to him.
Heartening. So, let's hear it then. Your report. The Windy Bank trial is concluded, but this is far from over.
Wait, this is actual, like, relevant to the game. That little motif there, I think also appears in Gregson's theme, where it's like, I can't do it because I'm not listening to it, but there's a bit in Gregson's theme that I think sounds like it. I think it's like a Her Majesty's government motif that they reused or something.
The Windy Bank trial is concluded, but this is far from over. It seems that dark, Far Eastern lawyer and I have some shared destiny. We will meet again. Of that, I have no doubt. Did you see that, Lord Van Zykes? Did ya? Madame Rosie went flying off among the pigeons there. Happy as an Irish she was. Really, Inspector? You must be relieved.
Bum, 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 bum. I would love a game where you play as Lord Van Zykes. Van Zykes Investigations. Do I not get an accolade for that? Oh, there it is. There we go. Oh, some of them have like a... Aha! Oh, there's only 2 ladders. Whoa, that's a funny pattern. That scrolls through all of them by pressing up and left, or up and right. That's kind of cool. Wait, this is a lattice on the... Okay, this is a lattice on a torus, right? Okay, so up is equivalent to down, right? So Okay, yeah. So when you press up, it swaps between the two rows. And then when you press right, it's... Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. If it was 2 by n, it would work. Or n by 2, it would work. This is a property of the number 2, I think. I don't know. Anyway, stop streaming.